Hi, I'm Rich Torrey. Welcome to another Level Up Cartooning. All you need to follow along with me is a pencil and paper. Easy peasy, right? Well, we're hitting that midway point in the summer, and I thought maybe today I would talk to you about some tips to help you level up your hand drawing ability. Just some things to think about while you're practicing drawing cartoon hands. And these tips apply to both 4 and 5-fingered hands. I know hands are on that list of hardest things to draw and least favorite things to practice. That's why my philosophy is that it's best to conquer hands and other tough things to draw in bite-sized lessons. To motivate you, here are 2 reasons to work on drawing hands. First, if you have trouble drawing hands, there's a chance that it leads you to drawing characters and poses that either hide hands altogether or in poses that minimize actions that require hands doing things. You may not even be aware of it. Second, and most importantly, you never want to get into the mindset where you shy away from drawing things simply because you find them difficult. I want you to become a cartoon warrior. Embrace and attack those things you have trouble with. I promise you will conquer them. That mindset truly is the secret to becoming a better cartoonist. Okay? But before we get started, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button as it helps this channel to grow, and hit the bell so you never miss a lesson. Okay? So let's go to our quick tips on drawing cartoon hands. So tip number 1. So as we've already said, drawing hands is hard enough as it is. Don't add pressure by thinking you have to draw the hands once and draw it perfectly that first time. You notice I don't edit out my erasing or adjustments in my videos. That's because I want to show you that I'm always adjusting, always tweaking, based on the lines I've already sketched out, right up until the time I commit to draw that final line. It's why I call it thinking on paper. It's also why I always say draw lightly until the very end. Okay, so here's tip number 2, and it's related to tip number 1. When you draw any cartoon hand, whether it's 4-fingered or 5, instead of starting with a finger or a thumb, lightly sketch out an oval or circle to represent the palm. Having something now on that paper instead of a blank space gives you an anchor or a hub to then build your hand on. It allows you to begin to visualize where you're going with that hand. Then as you begin to lay out the fingers, start with whatever finger that's closest to you or the viewer. Again, remember that first tip. You're always going to go back and adjust based on what you've already drawn. Don't get tunnel vision. Compare and contrast each finger as you're building. In a way, it's like sculpting with clay, only it's with a pencil on paper. You're molding and adjusting based on where you are at any given moment. Don't ever think of it as permanent until you have committed to that final darker line. Alrighty then, that brings us to hand drawing tip number 3. To really add rocket fuel to your hand drawing improvement, I want you to try something called iteration and analyzation. On a page, start by drawing a hand, preferably one you're looking to improve on. Don't get all wigged out that it has to be perfect. Just draw it. When you finish, take a moment to analyze it. Now draw it again right next to the first one, using whatever you've learned from observing that first one. Then stop, analyze that second one, comparing it to the first one, and draw a third next to the second. Analyze all 3 and use it to draw a 4th. Analyze again, and if you want, going back and tweaking things you've started to see in the collection that needs work. Then do a 5th. Analyze, compare, and contrast with the others. Keep doing this until you've done 20 of the exact same hands. Warning, do not simply go through the motions drawing it 20 times. It's essential that you stop and analyze each sketch when you're done. This is what stimulates the intuitive part of your brain by using the analytical part of your brain, and it's what's going to lock it into your muscle memory. Oh, and I should mention, not only does this iteration and analyzation technique work for hands, it's good for everything you want to improve on. You know what? I think I'm going to throw in a bonus tip because I know that practicing hands can be tedious and downright boring. So I'm going to give you this alternate way of practicing hands. And that's simply to, whenever you're drawing a character, add at least one challenging hand to that drawing. I try to do that with all my Level Up cartooning lessons, picking out and drawing characters with at least one hand in a challenging pose or gesture. By doing this, it provides a little motivation to practice a difficult hand that one might not otherwise attempt, simply because it's part of a fun character drawing. So the next character you feel like drawing, incorporate a challenging hand pose or gesture. Okay, so there are some things to remember as you work to improve your cartoon hands. Give them a try. Remember, the trick is to break things up, make these challenges bite-sized, and most importantly, develop that cartoon warrior mentality. Embrace and attack those things you have trouble with. If you do, I promise you, you will conquer them. That mindset truly is the secret to becoming an excellent cartoonist. So I'd love to see the results of you trying these hand drawing tips. Take a picture and post it on either Facebook or Instagram, and don't forget to include the hashtag #LevelUpCartooning. I really hope you got something out of today's hand drawing tips. Remember to subscribe, and thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep drawing, my friends.